Yo, what's up, guys? So, in today's video, we are talking about identity. What identity is, how can we change it, how can we reinvent ourselves? Because every person on the planet has an identity, and it is usually rooted far, far back, either if it's something they've been through, someone around them, either if it's their family or friends been telling them, and you get caught in this pattern. Once you have an identity deeply rooted in yourself, it could affect the choices you make, it could affect the decisions you make, the habits you have, and ultimately affecting the life you're creating for yourself. So I wrote down over here, identity is who you believe you are, the story you tell yourself that shapes how you think, act, and show up every day. And whether we realize or not, our life always moves in this direction of our identity. Now, like I said, it could be created through either a mistake you did, the way you grew up, the say you're in a certain friend group or people around you. You build this story you're telling yourself, and then it's latched onto your identity, and that's the person you are. So, for example, I smoked weed at a very young age, and I always told myself, listen, I'm a stoner or I'm a smoker. And not only did I tell myself, other people knew that. All my friends, family, everyone was always like, oh yeah, Dylan's the smoker, Dylan's the stoner. And it's very, very difficult to break out of that, especially if you've been doing that for years. Say you've been playing that identity, you're the smoker or you're the broke person or you're the one that's fat. Like it could be physical, but also mental. Or like you're the one that's always depressed. You're the one that is not disciplined. Say you've been like that for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. Yes, it could be very difficult to break out of that, but it is possible. Like myself, I went from saying to myself, oh yeah, I'm a smoker. If someone asks me, do you want to smoke? Yeah, sure. Like I smoke. If someone asks me now, I don't even say, oh, I used to be a smoker, but I don't do that anymore. I'll just tell them I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. I don't even have to justify or explain where my identity was. That is what my identity is now. So, like I said, this could be rooted from a lot of different things. For me, it was smoking. Like, there's obviously multiple different identities. It's not just smoking. There's other things I've been through. Like, I used to never work out, and now I've been working out for 3 years. I used to always smoke. Now I haven't smoked in over 3 years. So, multiple different things could be changed. But it could not only stem from yourself, but it could stem from your parents. So, say, like your parents made you in a scarcity mindset. They grew up poor and then they put that on you. You think, oh, my family's poor, that means I'm poor. You could obviously, there's multiple stories and people that are very successful that had poor families and a poor upbringing, and now they're very wealthy and rich. So you could break out of that. But honestly, one of the biggest things I realized is that when you reinvent yourself in a way, because I'm explaining the identity part, what identity is and how it is caused and how it could affect you. But when you change your identity, a lot of people use the term reinvent yourself. That means you either change a thought in your mind, you change the story you're telling. But the biggest tip I could give you is one, you have to change your environment. So, say, like, if you're an alcoholic, obviously, when you're quitting alcohol, I want to say go chill in the bars on your weekend and just drink water. Like, you don't want to surround yourself with alcohol. Just get out of there. Don't even go to the bar. Go to the library. Or, like me, when I was a smoker, I would chill around a lot of people that smoked weed. So I had to remove myself from that so my identity could catch up with myself before people remind you of the old version of yourself. because it's very weird. It's like when you chill with people and you try to change, first off, it's hard for them to accept it, and it's hard for yourself to accept it because they're familiar with the old version of yourself. But when you're reinventing yourself, you gotta think you're basically becoming a whole new person. Obviously, there's certain things that are still gonna be stay there, and you're still gonna be yourself. But say someone that met me a couple years ago to now, you like say in high school, you knew people in high school and you graduated years ago. Some of those kids might think, oh yeah, I know Dylan, he was shy, he smoked weed. Do you know the version of me now? No, you don't. So that idea they have in their heads, it's like imaginary. That Dylan doesn't even exist no more. He died. He got reinvented. So it's the same thing with your friends or family. You don't have to cut them off completely, but you definitely have to limit it. And even if they ask, you could just be like, listen, I'm working on myself these next few weeks or next few months. It's nothing personal. I'm just doing this for myself. I'm changing, I'm evolving. And the best way to do that is you have to isolate a little. You have to distance yourself from other people and stay focused. And not only do you change the environment, like you don't go where you used to smoke, you don't go to the bar, like certain things. It's different from everyone. The best thing you could do is after this, get a notebook and reflect. Ask yourself, what's the identity I'm telling myself? What's the story I'm telling myself? And you have to envision the person you want to be. Do you want to be a smoker or do you not? Do you want to be disciplined or do you not? And then once you pick that person in your head that you want to become, like I always want to be confident. I always want to be disciplined. Like when I was younger, I always found it interesting how someone in the military or someone that's an officer, like I never wanted to be in the military or like an officer, but like I always found it interesting. They were so well put together. They were so healthy looking. They were in shape. And it's because they were disciplined. And those are one of the traits that I grew into my identity. Like I enjoyed being disciplined. That's why I look the way I look. I don't look like skinny or dehydrated. Like I look healthy, disciplined, and focused. And that's something I envision myself. I always didn't look like this, but it started in my mind and then it became who I am. So you have to step away from certain environments and take a break or distance yourself from friends or family or even coworkers. Coworkers, it's different because you're going to work every single day, but just focus on yourself and focus the person you want to distance from, either if it's you were depressed, you weren't disciplined, and envision the person you want to become. And you have to isolate in that period. Then also, I talked about this in the last two videos already. I made a video on this. You could go on my channel. It's like 2 videos before this video. Please, please stop watching short form content. Delete Instagram, delete TikTok. Like I said, you could still have your account, but just delete it off your phone. In this period, you have to take a break because it is very hard to change your identity, not only when you're around these people that associate who you used to be and they're holding you back. It's like an anchor. Say you tell someone you've never been in the gym and you want to go to the gym, they're like, yeah, right. Or like for me, when I was always smoking, I smoked for years, and I tell them, oh, I'm going to stop smoking. They would be like, yeah, all right. They would laugh or chuckle, be like, yeah, you're going to stop smoking? I would like to see that happen. And they shut that out already. Or like say you've been broke for a while and you're trying to better yourself and make more money. Your friends or family could be like, yeah, good luck with that. It's not going to happen. And you hearing that over and over again, it's very difficult because I'll make a different video on this too. But I truly believe getting hypnotized is not only hypnotizing yourself, it's what you're around. Either if you're watching the news, you're listening to family and friends, when you hear something over and over again, like you're not going to do it, you're not going to change, you're programming your subconscious and you genuinely believe that, and it's harder to reinvent yourself. But definitely it is hard with watching short form content, because short form content, when you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, your brain is getting pulled in so many different ways, and like it's so much easier to think and have thoughts for yourself and reinvent yourself without that. So I'm not even going to go into depth with that. Just delete it in this process. And listen, this process could take a while. Like obviously the first few days and first few weeks, it takes a while, and you have to remind yourself you're not going to change overnight. It takes baby steps. Like do one small thing. Like say if you want to be more healthy, slowly change your diet. Slowly start going to the gym. You don't have to go 0 to 100 overnight. Like you change your whole diet, you're going to the gym every single day. That's too much. Me, I did go cold turkey. Like when I stopped smoking, I think it took me like 1 or 2 days to fully stop, which is very, very fast. I went from smoking to like in a day or two, I wasn't smoking anything because of a certain reason. But it did take me a while. Even though my habit, I wasn't smoking anymore, it felt weird for like honestly like the first couple months. I was stuck in this phase of like I would explain to people, oh yeah, I used to smoke, but I stopped because first off, I got a job that tests me, and second off, I wanted to stop for myself. But for the first few months, I would have to explain to be like, oh yeah, I used to be a smoker, I used to be a pothead, and I was still holding on to that identity even though I like already stopped. And then I got to the point now where I don't even bring it up. I don't even explain it anymore. Like if someone asks me, "Oh, do you want to smoke?" I'll just be like, "I don't smoke." Like you don't have to go into it. You don't have to be like, "Oh, that used to be me. That was me. This is me now. I don't do it. That's my identity." And you see what I mean? Like even though I stopped the habit and I stopped the decisions of smoking, like my identity was still pulled to that. I'll be like, "Yeah, I used to smoke, but now I don't do it no more." Just straight up, I don't do it no more. That's who I am. And that could be the same thing for you. Either if you aren't confident, like this is a big thing I still work on. That certain things it takes longer than others. Like confidence takes a very long time to like build bulletproof. Obviously, you could have baby steps where you were more confident than you were, but over years and years and years of work and identity shifting, like you see me a few years ago, I was definitely not as confident. Like in high school, I was definitely not as confident. And you have to think, when you change your identity, you're changing the story you tell yourself and others, being like, oh, I'm not confident. So I'm a very confident person. I'm focused. I'm disciplined. To be very stuck in that ways and grounded and like you could stand firm on that statement, it takes a while. And it could take time. Like this took me years of being like, I always see, this is what you have to realize too. You first have to see and reflect what you want to get rid of or what you want to obtain. So say on the confidence part, I always wanted to be confident. Like I said, when I was younger and I see someone disciplined or confident, I admire people like that. So I knew I wanted that for myself. And it's very hard. There's no like certain thing where like, oh, this makes you confident. Like I've done a lot of research on it. It's not like you just do one thing and then overnight you're confident. It takes years and years to really build a bulletproof confidence. But now, as I reflect from where I was in high school to now, it's like night and day. It's like when you reinvent yourself, you're literally a different person. So I don't want to get too in depth with this. I just kind of wanted to share my perspective, and some of the videos I make, I might touch on again in the future if I have more insight on it. But yeah, like I said, the best tips I would say is first you have to think what you want, either if you want to remove something or gain something in your identity. And then once you realize that, you have to realize the steps, like think, what would a confident person do? Or if I want to be very disciplined, what would that person do? Would he wake up at a certain time? Would he say no to certain things? Once you realize what you want, then you got to step into that and start making choices and decisions based on that new person you want to become. And then you just kind of go in a period of isolation or discipline by distancing yourself from certain people or removing yourself from certain environments. And once you envision that person, try to align the decisions and choices you make to the person you're becoming. And then after that, it just takes time. The more and more you do this, you'll eventually just, first it starts up here, and then you eventually just become that person. That's how it goes. And also, this is one thing I want to tell you before I end this video, is you have to be okay with being misunderstood. People will say this. This happens all the time. You'd be like, people will say, oh, you changed, or you're different now, or whatever. That's the whole point. Don't even get sucked into that crap. You like, the comeback I'll say is like, you haven't changed, or like, that's the whole point. Like, I've been growing and evolving. Like, you're supposed to change in life. If you have been the same person you have in your whole entire life, that is scary, and there's a problem with you. Life is always growing and changing, and you have to grow yourself. So if some dumbass in your friend group or whatever says you changed, don't even talk back to that. Just remove yourself from that person. If they see you elevating and growing or trying to better yourself, and they say you changed or why you like this, or they're trying to hold you back, that's not even your friend. So distance yourself from that. And another key tip is, all the topics I talk about, it's very powerful to reflect or write notes or questions to yourself and just journal or whatever. When you ask yourself questions, you get quality answers. So even if you have ideas and tips about your journey or where you want to go or who you're becoming, it's always good to write notes down. But I hope you guys appreciated this video. And if you stayed to the end, please subscribe and like. I have more videos dropping this week. And let's get after it.